From Cowork 591 Studios, this is the Steve Brown Art Center Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie with producer Blake Tempus. This is the news for the week of Monday, October 31st, 2022. The Steve Brown Art Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. It will be offering community programming starting in Jesup, Iowa, before expanding to neighboring communities. Programming will include a community speaker series that will showcase existing creatives who reside within the community, as well as a pop-up series that will spotlight and partner with local businesses to provide opportunities for community engagement. First, in the library news, the Little Tot Story Time meets every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Join us for songs, stories, and more. The Spice Club, new Spice Kit available starting Tuesday, November 2nd. Kits are available at the library in our first come, first serve. STEM Wednesday, November 2nd at 1:30 p.m. ISU Buchanan County Extension presents STEM Wednesdays on early dismissal days. Join us in November for Scurrying Squirrels with Squirrel Story, a squirrel activity and a snack fit for a squirrel, trail mix, most suitable for grades K through 4. Pre-registration is required and limited to the first 15 kids. Call the Jesup Public Library 319-827-1533 with questions. Special story time Tuesday, November 8th at 4 p.m. Jesup Girls on the Run will be offering a story time in partnership with the Jesup Public Library. The story time is a project they chose to undertake as part of their community impact project. The girls will read multiple books, lists coming out soon, and provide coloring sheets to accompany them. Girls on the Run inspires girls of all abilities to recognize their individual strengths while building a sense of connection in a team setting. Volunteer coaches facilitate lessons that blend physical activity with life skills development to enable girls to adapt to whatever comes their way. At the end of the season, the team completes a 5K together, which provides a tangible sense of accomplishment and sets a confident mindset into motion. The Jesup group is made up of 18 3rd through 6th grade girls from Jesup and San Athanasius School. Friends of the Library meeting is Thursday, November 17th at 6 p.m. The Friends meet bi-monthly. New members are always welcome. The Book Club, the book Woman of Troublesome Creek by Kim Michelle Richardson, is Monday, November 21st at 1 p.m. Movie Monday, Where the Crawdads Sing, is Monday, November 21st at 1 p.m. as well. For years, rumors of the Marsh Girl have haunted Barkley Cove, a quiet town on the North Carolina coast. So in late 1969, when handsome Chase Andrews is found dead, the locals immediately suspect Kaya Clark, the so-called Marsh Girl. But Kai is not what they say. Sensitive and intelligent, she has survived for years alone in the marsh that she calls home, finding friends in the gulls and lessons in the sand. Then the time comes when she yearns to be touched and loved. When two young men from town become intrigued by her wild beauty, Kaya opens herself to a new life until the unthinkable happens. Popcorn and water bottles are provided. It's a 2-hour and 5-minute movie, and it's rated PG-13. There's a media sale going on in the library presently. Books for all ages, DVDs, puzzles, games, and more have been donated and are available for a free will donation to the Friends of the Library. Basket raffle. The Friends of the Library is selling raffle tickets for a basket worth over $200. The tickets are $1 each or 6 for $5. Stop in the library to see the basket drawing. Will be November 23rd. Check us out. The Jesup Public Library is not just for books. We also have magazines, newspapers, cake pans, puzzles, games, STEM activity bags, cookie cutters, DVDs, soap, making kits, and more that can be checked out. Come see all that we have to offer at the Jesup Public Library. Gift ideas, calling all coffee lovers. Drinking coffee can help support the Jesup Public Library. We have teamed up with the Velvet Coffee Company to offer you a special bookworm blend in ground or whole bean varieties and individual packets of a 12-ounce bag. A portion of every purchase benefits the Jesup Public Library. You can also purchase it and other blends online at www.velvetcoffee.com. Don't forget to stay hydrated. A 30-ounce Polar Camel water bottle with the Jesup Public Library logo is available for purchase online. Scan the QR code at the library to order yours today. New books. These new books are waiting for you. David Baldacci's The Long Shadow, John Grisham's The Boys of Biloxi, Bill O'Reilly's Killing the Legends, and James Patterson's Blowback are just a few of the new titles we have at the Jesup Public Library. Imagination Library. We are excited to bring you and your children the gift of books. This free service is available for all children aged 0 to 5 years living in the Jesup School District. A new age-appropriate book will be mailed to your child every month, 8 to 10 weeks after enrollment until they turn 5. Online enrollment can be found at imaginationlibraries.com. A special thank you to our sponsors for supporting this program, the Friends of the Jesup Public Library, Heartland Technology, Innovative Wealth Management, Jesup Paint and Auto Body, Jesup Chamber of Commerce, Jesup Public Library Endowment Fund. If you would like to donate to this amazing program, use this link, govpaynow.com. Please choose Imagination Library as a payment type. Friends of the Library. Friends of the Jesup Public Library is welcoming new members. This nonprofit support organization improves the services and resources of the library and promotes citizen involvement in the community and hosts fundraising events to offer programs and resources for all ages. Membership forms are available in the library. 1,000 books before kindergarten. You are your child's first teacher, and your home is where your child begins to learn. When you talk, sing, read, and write, and play, you are helping your child get ready to read. Children who are read to at an early age will be better prepared to learn. The 1,000 Book Before Kindergarten program at the Jesup Public Library is designed to be simple and encourage making reading a daily habit. To register for this program, simply stop by the library to sign up online. Endowment Fund. The Jesup Public Library Endowment Fund was established as a gift to the library to ensure the longevity of materials and resources for the community. We are expanding and growing this fund to positively impact current and future patrons of the library. Significant incentives are provided for contributions to the funds, are deductible to the maximum extent permissible under current tax laws. A financial advisor or attorney can help you make the best decision for your funds to benefit the Jesup Public Library. Library donations. It's easy to donate to JPL. Cash gifts give immediate support to the Jesup Library. Bequests provide future support for the library, and memorial gifts serve as a special tribute for the loved one. We're fortunate tonight to have with us the city clerk from Jesup, Coley Mead. Coley is a tireless worker, and presently he's working on a grant for community betterment. And we are so happy to have him with us. Welcome, Coley. We're fortunate to have with us City Clerk Coley Mead on it. And I invited Coley in to talk a little bit about the survey that's going on in Jesup right now. It's going to have pretty good impact if it does for us what I think it will. Coley, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, so what we're trying to do, the city is trying to apply for a grant, and the grant in the end is for $1,750,000. That's the end goal for this. So phase one of this is we have to apply for a $25,000 grant. That's kind of like a planning study is what the first phase of this is. So it's a two-phase thing. The first phase is for $25,000. The second phase is for $1,750,000.
Coley, can I ask you who's the grant through?
Okay, so we're INTERCOG, which is the Iowa Northland Region Council of Governments, is the one that sponsored this grant for us. So they're kind of in control of it. They're helping us with the application and everything.
Okay.
So the idea of the grant, the first phase of this is, in order to apply for this, we have to narrow down a specific target area for this grant. So we had to pick an area of town that was only 200 households or less is the target area for this grant. So when we come to the survey that you'd mentioned, that is where we have to get as many of these surveys as we can from within these 200 households. And so the survey that we're looking for from everybody is just a real simple little one-page survey that we're looking for. It's got just 3 questions to it. Are you in favor of this grant that we're doing? How many people live in your household, and are you above or below a certain income level for everybody that lives in the household? So that's the idea to the survey that we're doing right now.
Okay. You were kind enough to let me go out and
I was.
and go to a few houses in town. It is most people are like me. They're not in love with people coming to their house with a survey, but a number of people let me explain it to them a little bit. But you did a much better job. It only takes about a minute to do.
We've actually done quite a few of the surveys just over the telephone. We don't even need to go house to house, door to door. But yeah, that is one way to do it. So we've done a lot of door to door. We've done a lot of telephone calls. If we have phone numbers and everything for people. So
are you calling from the city number 827 number? So
yep.
So if you see a call on your phone from an 827 number, answer it, and it may be from City Hall asking you about this.
Yep, 827-1522 is our phone number at City Hall. So if you see that come up on a missed call or something, that's us. You can give us a call back. We'd appreciate it. So we need to get this survey done this week. So we need to turn all these in by Friday. So we're on a really short deadline. This first phase of the application needs to be in and submitted by November 1st. So we're trying to get everything done by this Friday. So,
what are a few things, if we were fortunate enough in Jesup to get the grant? What are a few things that would go toward
Sure. So obviously the whole idea of this, the grant is called a neighborhood revitalization grant, and so obviously the biggest thing that relates to right there is single family housing rehabilitation. So if we have a house that needs a new roof, or if it looks like they need new windows, because they got a lot of air leaking in, them are kind of big things as far as single family housing goes. If they have a sidewalk in front of their house, it's really bad. We can use it towards that. We can use it toward their curb and gutter on their street. So them are kind of the big ones that's geared toward the single family housing addition part of it. So other things that we can use it for is parks. So like in the downtown area here, we've got the Landicorn Park. One thing we've kind of thought of would be a good idea is we have the playground area right across from CoWorks here that does not have the rubber underneath all of the playground equipment. And so that'd be a really nice little safety feature that we could, put under the playground area.
That would be a great addition.
Another thing that we've thought of that would be a good idea was over by the new basketball court. We've got the pavilion over there that is not in the best shape, and we're trying to do a lot of renovations over in that area. So we thought maybe trying to do a new pavilion over there, make that pavilion over there a nicer pavilion for everybody to use. So it's getting a little old, that one is.
Yeah. How many surveys have you gotten back so far?
I know it's over 100 we've gotten.
Wonderful.
So of the 200, we're over halfway. So I guess I haven't counted them yet, but obviously the more closer we can get to 200, the better our chances are of getting this grant. So it just shows more public, has supported the grant is the idea to it.
Right.
So the more surveys that we get, the better. So we've got a couple of days left to get as many as we can.
Well, and the like I say, it's relatively harmless. Takes less than a minute to do.
Yeah, very, very simple. Another part of the survey too is that each individual person's name or address is not, once the form is filled out, their name or address is not on the form. So their information is held confidential and private. It doesn't go out to anybody. It stays right here on our stuff, so it doesn't go out anywhere. their personal information. So people are always a little nervous of that. My
Right.
name and address is attached to it. It's not at all.
Right.
So-
it is that, which is very good. Yeah, most people don't want people to know that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
We just need to know if you're above or below a certain income level based on how many people live in your house.
well,
So the more people live in your house, the income level changes.
is there anything else you want to tell us about the grant, Coley?
So I mentioned the housing, sidewalks, the parks. Another thing we were thinking, in the end run for the use of this money was we have the red stamping on the sidewalks going down Young Street. And we thought about just continuing them on 6th Street here and have them going from like Holly Street at the library down to the railroad tracks. So on both sides of 6th Street. That was another thing that we kind of just brainstormed and thought might be a good idea that we could maybe take care of in this grant. So
Well, Coley, we appreciate you coming in on your off hours. We're taping this on Wednesday night about 7:30. This is off company time, and Coley was kind enough to come in. Thank you so much, Coley.
no problem. Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
You too.
A couple of things that Coley asked me to add as far as the time frame of the grant. The planning for the grant takes about 9 months. And so it will be 2023 before any of that comes to fruition. And then if it's approved, it will probably be 3 to 4 years before everything is done. So let's say that someone wanted a roof on their house. It's going to be 3 to 4 years before they can get that roof through this grant. We've had things like that grant before. Back in 2002, I know a number of homes were worked on through a grant like this in Jesup, and a number of houses were built over on the west side, the southwest side of Jesup, in 2005, dealing with a grant like this. Okay, we're fortunate to have with us tonight one of my former students and one of the more popular businessmen in our community. Zak Knutson is with Innovative Wealth Management, and Zak always brings a smile to whatever room he's in. Welcome, Zak, to the October 31st edition of the news. We have Zak Knutson with us today from Innovative Wealth Management, October 26th, 2022. On a personal note, I've wanted to have Zak on here. He was targeted as one of my earlier guests. Zak brings a lot of happiness wherever he is, and I am so happy to have him here tonight. And as I said earlier, we were taping on Wednesday night, and it will be on. This show will be on the week of December 31st. Zak, let's start with a couple questions. Where'd you get your work habits from? Where'd your work habits start?
Parents have to be my mom and dad. My dad is the one everybody sees working because he works road construction. So he's worked since I've known him 85 hours a week. But my mom is the hardest worker. Sheila is constant work from sun up to sundown and then cleans house after. So I'd like to say that, I suppose.
Both I enjoy both your parents.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you this: what keeps you in Jesup, Zak?
Convenience? No, I love the town. Honestly, I don't know. If you know me at all, you've heard me say 32 of the 33 years I've been alive, I've lived on the same city block. I live in a house my grandfather built. I don't know anything different. So I always say, if you want to know something about Jesup, I typically will know it because I'm here. But if you want to know anything going on outside this town, wrong guy. I love the people. I love the schools. I just think we have a lot of good stuff going, and I think we have a lot of cool stuff coming. But we just got to keep working hard.
The thing that I've wanted to ask you for a long time, and I can remember golfing with you and Nick Donnelly, and you asked him a question about business one time.
Okay.
And I thought that was a unique question, so I'll ask sort of different. What got you into the financial profession that you're in, Zak? What drew you there?
I always had an envision I was going to work at Farmer State Bank. So I thought started my vision at Shares Food Mart when that was in town, worked my way up, met my wife, thought I'd work at the bank, and that was great. Long story short, one thing led to another. They told me I had to get a 4-year degree. So I ended up at UNI, and I tell the high school students I work with now, when I showed up that day, they said, "What's your major?" And I said, "Oh, what are my options?" And they said, "You can pick anything." And I said, "Well, finance. I work at a bank." "Oh, great. In what?" Finance. I don't know. And they ended up saying investments was one of my options, and I just picked it because I liked them. I didn't know anything different. Getting into the business I'm in is by accident. I'd never intended to be self-employed. It worked out great. I'm happier than heck that I am. Mm-hmm. So the business is financial planning. I love it because everybody needs it, and it's unique to every person.
How many hours a week do you think you spend at your job, Zach?
At the office, boy, the people I work with would say I'm lying. I would say 60 hours a week, and that doesn't count the waking up at 3 a.m. thinking about it. But my wife would tell you I'm on my phone or reading all the time. So
right, Zach, this is why I wanted to interview you. This next question.
Sure.
One of the many things that impresses me about you, Zach, is the way that you give back to the community. You are active in so many things. I know your wife would rather have you at home a lot of times when you're busy, like doing this right now. Mm-hmm. So we'll try to get you out of here fairly quickly. Why has giving back to the community become such a big part of your life?
I think because I can, and I'm able. I think we all owe that to one another to do that, and it's funny. This is a very common topic we've talked about here of late, and I've kind of reflected on it. I don't know any different, so I don't know if that's my grandparents or my mom or my dad or how I was raised. I assume that's part of it, but I just know I'm very blessed. So I have a lot of means. I like to tell jokes. I like to make people laugh. I like to give hugs, and if I have an extra buck in my pocket, I'll give it to you. It's important to me, and I've seen people struggle. And I know one day I will struggle, and I'll need someone like Jim Gillespie to help me out.
Could you tell us some of the things that you volunteered for or involved with now, Zach? Right?
Yeah. Right now, when I had kids, I started to cut things just because I owed it to my wife.
Right.
But right now is the smallest my plate's been. So I'm the president of the Buchanan County Health Trust, an organization out of Independence that focuses on health for the whole county, donates a lot of money to different organizations, schools to hospitals to fire departments. I'm on the Jesup Fire Department. I have been for 10 years. That is my most unique volunteering. That is the epitome of volunteers because you have 35 dudes. We welcome women, ladies. We just don't have any right now. But 35 dudes that come from all walks of life who are just there solely to help. Very involved in the school. I'm on Heartland Technology Board of Directors. You name it. I'm kind of around, but I'm not officially official on a lot of things.
What have you been involved with? One thing, for example, is you're on the school board for a while. What else were you involved with that you cut back a little bit on?
Yeah, I was Jesup School Board, one of my favorite things I've ever done. I've been involved with Jesup Golf Course, felt like my whole life, on the board for like 15 years. I've been on numerous different committees and boards in the community. Kind of strike in here. What I will say is there's not a shortage of volunteers needed, right?
There's not.
And for any person that says that, my gosh, I wish I could get more involved, just say it out loud, and you'll have 9-10 options.
Well, I've got to ask you this question, Zach.
Yeah.
And Brody Vogel is our treasurer on the Steve Brown Arts Center.
Yeah.
And he and I have talked about this. What's more important, do you think, donating money or donating time?
Well, they both have a value, right? I think more people are more prone to donate money. And I think time sometimes is the hardest thing to ask for. And money, for me, goes a lot further short term, because it might fill a void. But there's no question, time is something we don't have more of. And so when people do, that should be of higher value, in my opinion.
You're right. I agree. I agree with you. There's few people on this earth that have the ability to give huge, vast amount of wealth to people.
Absolutely.
But everybody can donate time.
Yeah, and I think time, to me, Jim, on that point is it's as simple as a high five in passing. I understand that doesn't help Buchanan County Health Trust or Steve Brown Art Center necessarily, but we're spreading positivity. And, Dustin Bain, who we were talking off air about, that is somebody him and I talk often about, that you might be the only person that said hi,
Right.
that given moment to that person. And who the heck knows what they're going through? Mm-hmm. So I think that is something anybody listening, and I hope it's millions of people,
Right.
I would tell you, I just think don't underestimate that alone, and picking up garbage and, all these things, that the Rex Reinhardts of the world.
Oh, I agree completely. And the more I see, we have some incredible business people in our community. Yeah. People don't realize how good of businessmen and women there are in our community. Some of them are incredible. Zach, you've been in Jesup over 30 years of your life. What still surprises you about Jesup?
Politically correct answer. What surprises me about Jesup? Our schools continue to be the driver. And I own a business in this town, and I've said that numerous times, multiple businesses, I suppose, in this town. And I've said, when people ask me, hey, why'd you pick Jesup? And I mean when I say convenience.
Right.
My house is 1/2 block from the office. So when I work 40 hours a week in the office, I can go home. But what surprises me is our schools continue, and schools are some of the hardest things to run because of money. Mm-hmm. There's a fixed resource there. And they continue to be the sole drive, maybe not sole, but the big drive to bringing families to our community. So our big push, the young upcoming, and even some of our older, leaders, if you will, that is a definite push. And you can hear about that. I'm sure we'll talk about it here coming up, about some of the future for this city and how do we make sure people are coming and what can we do to make them stay. And it always bothers me what people choose to be upset about,
It does. I've got to ask this, and you lead me right to the next question. What's your dream for the community, Zach? What's your dream for Jesup?
I will sacrifice. I used to want us to be a standalone community, meaning, we're just we can self-sufficient, we can do everything here, but I think that would be irresponsible to do. I think we are a bedroom community, and we need to embrace that. But I fear, I look up and down what I call our main street, and we have Dave Peterson, Maryland Fresh, Peterson Hardware, and you go down that row, and those are all people who have families committed to our community, and they're getting to the age where I think at some point they're going to get tired. I don't know about Dave Peterson, but
Right.
Everybody else is going to get tired. And what happens then? What happens when they go away? Who's going to fill those shoes, for lack of better words?
I agree with you. It is. I deliver tuxedos for Milroy Tuxedos to a lady down in Fort Madison is one of my customers. And she's 85 years old. She runs a dress shop.
Yep.
One day we talked for a long time, and she said, Jim, I just can't get my children to want to take over my business. Mm-hmm. Because you talked about 60 hours,
Sure.
At work. And it's hard. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to run a business. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier to work for someone else and go home. And this is one of the things you and I talked about years ago. I don't know if you remember this. If you want to be rich, you got to sell.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you sell, not necessarily sell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Even it doesn't matter what job you're in, and your point of, to be the business owner is better than going to work for someone sometimes, but we're seeing this a lot. Not everybody needs to own a business.
Right.
We need people too that are willing to work. And I think there's a lot of businesses that are embracing that. I didn't answer your question about my vision for this community well. I want to see us just stay relevant. Mm-hmm. I want our schools to continue to kick butt, but more importantly, I want us as people and community members to support it and support St. A's and support Jesup, because I think that's critical to our well-being.
One of the things that excites me is you were on with Dusty Baines and Tony Lang on a podcast earlier in the week, and I want everyone to catch that. What's the name of Tony's podcast?
Oh boy, Spilling the Tea.
Spilling the tea. I believe Tony has it on his Facebook
That's right. I think you
account.
can find it on Tony's Facebook. I was a guest. He is the brains, and I was the poor interview. Blake is killing it because I can already tell we're better volume. When I was at Tony, I'm like, oh boy, sorry, buddy.
Well, let's have some fun here. We'll
love
get you out of here. Let you go home. What are 3 podcasts you listen to?
Yep. So for humor, I like Theo Vaughn's. It's this past weekend. I listened to. Oh, what are some of the good ones I listened to? I listened to a Down the Middle. It's called. It's a financial planning. So Down the Middle, and then I will listen to Theo Vaughn, and then I like Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so I think it's important. I don't say I like everything they say.
Right,
I just
right.
like listening.
Well, a lot of people do. A lot of people listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, he's kind of the king. I mean,
Yeah.
he made it what it is. I think.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Everybody in the world knows you love to golf, Zach.
Yep.
What's another hobby besides golfing?
To be determined. I'm looking. My girls are changing that. I have a 5-year-old, so I have a Jayhawk kindergartner, and so recently I got into t-ball, pretty heavy this summer. So I have a feeling my hobbies are going to change with them, and I am completely at peace with that.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember Dan Flaherty.
Absolutely.
And Dan talked about once he had children. Dan loved to golf, and he was a club champion one year.
Sure.
And Dan said, Gillespie, I just can't golf like I used to because I gotta be with the kids.
Yep.
And it changes your life.
Yep.
So here's a big question.
Yeah.
A little tough. How old were you the first time you beat your dad at golf?
I would have had. This is a guess. I would say probably 14.
Ah.
I would guess, and it'll have to be in that vicinity.
Yeah.
And we still exchange. I mean, he'll still beat me today.
Both of you are extremely
Yep.
competitive on the golf course.
That's a fact.
I've been real fortunate to golf with both of you. From the tee box on Jesup Golf and Country Club on hole 1, 5-iron to driver.
5-iron.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's
About the
from
only
your
thing in
dad.
my life I'm conservative with.
Who would you rather golf with, Jack Nicklaus or Arnold Palmer, if Arnold was still alive?
Arnold Palmer. I think our personalities would align.
I think you're right. Best round of golf you ever shot?
62.
Wow.
Yeah.
At Jesup?
At Jesup. 231s.
Wow.
Yep.
If you could spend one day at the Masters or 1 week on Wall Street?
Oh, one day at the Masters. Yeah. Yeah. Wall Street's nothing but a bunch of computers now.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. Coffee or soda?
Coffee.
McDonald's or Chick-fil-A?
Ooh. Unpopular opinion, McDonald's. I don't like Chick-fil-A's chicken.
Mr. Cohagen said McDonald's last week,
And I
too.
think he said it's because he's never ate there.
Yeah.
He lives under a rock, I think.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about yourself or about your family?
No, I think we said it. I think the one thing I will say is nobody's gone broke giving. So give. Time is more than money. We've talked about all those things. And then more importantly, thank you guys. I think this is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I've been spoiled to be a part of the beginning, listening to Jim talk about Steve Brown Art Center, and I think it's awesome.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. So I tell everybody to tune in. Tell all your friends, whoever's listening, to tune in, please. And let's grow the audience.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Zach. Thanks
you,
for being
guys.
with us tonight. From Cowork 591 Studios, this is the Steve Brown Art Center Podcast Network. News from Cowork 591. There will be Hocus Pocus Charcuterie October 28th. That's parent, child 8 and over. It's a make and take event. See our Facebook event page for more information. That's at 6:30 p.m. on the 28th. On October 31st, there's a costume party and soup cook-off. Dress up for Halloween and join us for a soup cook-off. Prizes for best costume and soup. That is between 11 and 12:30 p.m. on Halloween Day, October 31st. Everything you want to know about Medicare Advantage straight from your local experts. Learn about new Medicare Advantage options from the Wellmark Advantage Health Plan. Get your questions answered and find out how to enroll. Register now at 319-235-6561. They will be at the Cowork Building on 591 Young Street in Jesup, Iowa, November 3rd at 10 a.m. 3 p.m., and 6 p.m. You can sign up by calling the co-work building, or you can call Farmers State Bank at 319-235-6561. That's 319-235-6561. You are invited to Co-work 591 Community Coffee, Friday, November 11th, 2022. It's open to the public. That's Veterans Day, from 8 until 9 a.m. at Co-work 591 Studios here on Young Street, celebrating our community and our veterans. Free coffee will be served by Co-work 591. If you prefer a specialty coffee, please grab one from the homebrew truck that will be in the back parking lot, and then join us for conversation inside. Remember, every Wednesday and Friday, homebrew coffee truck serves specialty coffee drinks from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. The Littleton and Chatham Historical Society is hosting a chili supper and raffle on Friday, November 4th, 2022, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. This is a free will donation for the meal and will benefit the Littleton Chatham Historical Society with their ongoing museum needs. This event will be held at the Littleton and Chatham Historical Society, 601 State Street, the former Pleasant Grove Presbyterian Church, across from the Littleton Lounge. For more information or to purchase raffle tickets, call Tony at 319-415-1175. That's 319-415-1175. Or email Tony, that's Tony, Bengston, Bengston, at yahoo.com. That's Littleton Chatham Historical Society's Chili Supper on November 4th from 5:30 to 7. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and we are coming to you from the Co-work 591 studios. Here's school news. First, from the Community Rec Director, Brock Sabers, a few brief bits of news. Grades 1 to 4 grade boys completed their flag football season this last week. They played 6 games, all here in Jesup, and there were 65 kids that played overall this fall. Our 5th grade flag football teams are nearing the end of their season, playing in a great league run by the Independence Parks and Recreation Department. We have 3 teams in a league, and they are having a blast playing. They currently are combined 14-6. 3 teams also means we need 3 coaches, and they are fortunate to have parents willing to volunteer time for games and practices. Thank you to Noah Jungi, Tyler DeSouza, and Adam Van Pelt for coaching. We look forward to seeing these boys playing together next year. 6th grade football finished the first year of tackle football today with a record of 3-1 with 2 ties. The kids not only had a lot of success, but they also got to play different positions, and all 21 players got a lot of playing time. Most importantly, they kept improving each week and had a lot of fun. Thank you to Matt Hosford, Tim Brown, Keith Nooring, and Troy Youngblood for volunteering a lot of time to coach the team. We're excited to watch them compete at the junior high level next fall. 3 through 6 volleyball has completed the rec season with 5 games here in Jesup, and our last weekend of travel season will be this week. The travel season consisted of additional games played against other schools. We had 64 girls complete this season. That was 64 girls compete. We will again have the halls open for adult walking on Wednesday and Sunday evenings. We will post on the Jesup Rec Facebook page and share on this podcast when the school opens up. From the athletic director's office and Joe Smines, here's some of the fall postseason awards. In volleyball, Lainey Pilcher was second team all-conference. Kayla Wymore was honorable mention all-conference in volleyball. In cross country, Mackenzie Wilson was first team all-conference. Claire Wright was first team all-conference. Amaya Treben Boyd was honorable mention all-conference. In the boys cross country, Nathan Pite was second team all-conference. Aiden Gonzalez was second team all-conference. Caden Lang was honorable mention all-conference. And Tyler Nolan was honorable mention all-conference. State qualifiers in the girls were Mackenzie Wilson, and Claire Wright. And in the boys, Nathan Pint was state qualifier. In football, Brevin Dahl was named first-team All-District wide receiver. Ryan Treptow was named first-team All-District quarterback. Skylar Blade was named first-team All-District linebacker. Dawson Bell was second-team All-District. And Tice Larson was named second-team All-District. This is the Steve Brown Art Center Podcast Network. We're coming to you from the Co-work 591 Studios in downtown Jesup. Each week I try to give you some of my own writings, and I want to read you something I wrote about my father on my blog. It was called The Colonel. My father was a product of Cottageville, West Virginia, raised there during the Great Depression. He was the youngest of 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Dad's father was Wallace, and he was a horse trader. His neighbors all raised tobacco. Dad felt all of his life he had to support the tobacco farmers, so he chewed mail pouch, smoked unproductive cigars, and would roll his own cigarettes, smoke a pipe now and again, and even put in a pinch of snuff. Dad's first job was driving sanitized jars from the creamery to the guys that made their own whiskey in the hills around Cottageville. He called it paradise. My father loved horses, and this led him to a short career in the rodeo. He enjoyed riding the bulls, and he would have lasted longer had he not been bucked off and broke both of his arms, ending that career. He told that story of when he was growing up and a horse bit him in the right bicep. The doctor was 9 miles away and the vet was only 3 miles away. The vet gave him 21 stitches, and he had the scar to prove it. Dad also drove semi for 30 years, going over 1 million miles and entering 48 states, Canada, and Mexico. And I will never forget a trip he had to make for a company he had to work for. A company out of Chicago had bought a bunch of old, handicapped, and insane horses near Dubuque, and he had to run them to Chicago to the glue factory. Even though I was about 10 years old, I could see the stress on Dad's face as he watched them load the horses to the trailer. Dad knew what was going to happen to these horses, and it bothered him. He also realized that these horses were going to rock his truck all the way to Chicago. I saw that stress on his face only 3 other times in my life. Dad never wandered far from his roots. He always wore cowboy boots, loved pork chops and my mom's biscuits. Loved a Sunday afternoon nap when he was home, and loved to tinker with steam engines in the garage. I can still picture him sitting in a recliner with a cheek full of tobacco, watching Sanford Sons and the Rockford Files on a summer Friday night. Expensive possessions mean very little to me, so I do not have a lot. What I do have, though, are great memories to me. One of my friend's fathers passed away recently, and I gave him something that was very important to me. I gave him my father's spurs from his rodeo days. This is the Steve Brown Art Center Podcast Network, and we are live from the Co-work Studios 591 downtown Jesup. Some thank yous this week. We had Jen Loeb in, and we were lucky to have Jen speak to us about training for climbing mountains. She was motivational and uplifting. Jen is a world-class athlete that was successful at many levels and will continue to be. I would recommend everyone hear Jen speak. She has a special calling as well. If you're the parent of a young daughter, find out where you can take your daughter to hear Jen speak. She has a great message for them. I don't think people realize here in Jesup the incredible athlete that Jen is. She has overcome obstacles climbing summits around the world, and in one particular climb in Argentina, she was climbing with a group of men, and the only one to make it to the summit was Jen. Jen was very proud of that. Great message for young ladies. Thanks to Brock Sabers and the Jesup Rec Department for co-sponsoring Jen this past week. Thanks to Chad Cohagen for joining us last week. Joe and Judy Olson from Independence has been very instrumental with the Art Center recently. They are part of LACES, and they have joined us to help the Steve Brown Art Center grow. Both are very active in helping the arts in Independence and Buchanan County. They are working hard to show the incredible art of John Decker, and John has two shows coming up thanks to them. Another thanks goes to Josie Lloyd. She's in charge of the Steve Brown Arts Center social media, Facebook and Twitter. She was one of the many students of Steve Brown. Also, thanks to Even Dozen Study Club for reaching out and asking us to speak December 8th at 1 p.m. Upcoming events, the John Decker Art Show at the Moloch Theater, November 4th through the 6th. November 4th from 4 to 7 o'clock. November 5th from 11 to 3 o'clock. And November 6th from noon until 4. In conjunction with the Independence Holiday Kickoff, the Steve Brown Arts Center is working with the Independence Chamber of Commerce, Laces, and Moloch Theater. Moloch Theater, if you recall, is being restored by Jesup native Anthony Fitz. Also, John Decker has an art show here at Co-Work Studios December 3rd from 3 until 9 o'clock in conjunction with the Winter Festival. Kelly has been very good at helping us get set up for that. Remember, the Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has visions for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. It will be offering community programming starting in Jesup, Iowa, before expanding to neighboring communities. Programming will include a community speaker series that will showcase existing creatives who reside within the community, as well as pop-up series that will spotlight and partner with local businesses to provide opportunities for community engagement. I'd like to thank the community for their thanks, and as Tony, Kelly, Blake, and I have gotten this podcast going, and I'd like to make this promise: we will be better every week. We've had 2 guests today. This was the first week with 2 guests, and as we improve each week, we hope to make it interesting for you. Thanks again for joining us. If you would like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the stevebrownartscenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jgillespie@gmail.com or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. That's 319-290-0241 or jgillespiegolf@gmail.com. Thanks, Blake Tempus, Tony Lang, and Kelly Seahouse at Co-Work 591 Studios. This is Jim Gillespie. Remember, each day is about little victories.